Welcome, friends, to the next lesson of driving theory for Belgium made simple. Today, in this lesson, we will talk about cross points. It is also referred to as junctions. So, a cross point or a junction is defined. That's a place where two or more public roads meet. So, as you can see in this photo, you can see that there is a signal and then traffic light, and that is actually regulating the traffic at this junction or cross point where there are multiple roads coming in. So it doesn't matter if the road is coming from the right or left. If there are multiple roads at a point, then that is called as a junction. So it even doesn't matter if it is a pakka road or if it is a mud road. So a junction is a place where two or more roads meet. So at the junction, you perform different uh, different actions. For example, you can at the junction as a driver, you perform crossing of a vehicle, turning left, right, and even sometimes you perform overtake at the junction. So when you are at junction and performing these actions, you must always follow the priority rules. It's very, very important at the junction because otherwise it's a very dangerous place. Accidents may happen. So it's very important to pay attention to who has priority at the junction and then follow those priority rules and be extra careful. The other important thing is never block a cross point or a junction. So the thing is, if there is traffic jam, make sure that you are not blocking, just going in the junction and stopping because there is a traffic jam. Just stop behind, leave the junction free, leave the junction empty so that the other vehicles can easily use the junction to go to the next road. So it's very important, never block a cross point or junction. So let's understand what is crossing. In this photo, you see two cars going in the opposite direction. So what is crossing is when two vehicles come from opposite direction and they just continue driving in their direction. So they are crossing each other, right? And it's important to note that for crossing you don't need a junction. So it is one road. It can be at a junction, of course, but even if it is one road, if the two cars are just continuing to drive in their own direction, then we say that they have crossed each other. So more about crossing. Crossing is done on the right. So you always cross from the right. In Belgium or in countries where we drive on the right side of the road, it is obvious that we always cross from the right. Even for a tram, this is important. You cross a tram also from the right. Okay. So while crossing, you should keep your vehicle as right as possible. Give sufficient space for the other driver to cross the road, and the other driver should give sufficient space to you to cross the road so there are no accidents. If you cannot cross safely, if you think there is an obstacle, if there is, for example, let's say a bicycle going very slow in front of you, just slow down and if necessary, stop. Okay. So always remember, adapt your speed to the traffic conditions. Yeah, we have learned this earlier in the earlier lessons. So if the road is not wide enough, you are allowed to use the level verge. Level verge is what is shown in green here. So what is in white is the road and in green is the level verge. So you are allowed to use the level verge to cross. But then pay attention in a within a built-up area. If it is a elevated level verge, never use the elevated level verge. Why? Because elevated level verge is usually the footpath or a place reserved for the pedestrians. Yes, it is a place reserved for the pedestrians. So it's an offense to drive on a footpath or a place reserved for pedestrians. So outside built-up area, that's a different story, but within built-up area, do not use the elevated level verge. So as you can see, the two cars are crossing each other and they are using the level verge, which is they're using the level verge and they are not using the elevated verge. And that's why they are allowed to cross each other safely here. If in case this green was an elevated verge instead of level verge, they should have not used it. The next thing is when you are crossing a car or a vehicle, you should never drive on the bicycle lane or footpath. Just as we discussed before, an elevated verge is a footpath and we should never drive on an elevated verge. So also it is not allowed to drive on a bicycle lane while crossing. It's an offense. And if there is an obstacle, let's say there is an obstacle in your direction, like you're driving in this direction, and then you see this van which has stopped, and it's an obstacle for you. So what you do is you allow the traffic from the opposite direction to first pass, and you only move ahead when the other side of the road becomes empty. Why? Because you will be entering, when you continue straight, you will actually leave your part of the road and enter their part of the road. And when you're doing that, you should first allow the traffic which is on that side of the road to pass through, because it's their side of the road and you are entering their side of the road. So you should allow them first to continue, and only when their side of the road is empty, you are allowed to move to that side of the road and then cross the or pass the van, and then come back to right and just continue driving. So here, this is a priority thing. So when there is an obstacle on your side of the road, you must always give priority to the traffic coming from the opposite direction. So in this example, because this van is an obstacle for you, you must first stop, let the two cars on the left pass, and then only when that side of the road becomes free, you are allowed to use that side of the road and then continue driving. Now let's move on to maneuvers. What are maneuvers? Maneuvers are turning right or turning left. These are some of the examples. So changing lanes, crossing the road to reach the other side of the road, you're entering or exiting the parking, you're exiting the private property, you are turning and reversing. All these things are maneuvers. Now you don't have to remember all of this, just remember the term maneuvers. And what is important to remember during maneuver is when you are doing a maneuver, you are actually leaving your lane and entering others' lane or footpath or road. So when you are entering others' lane, you must always give priority to the road user who's already using that lane, right? So you are leaving your lane, entering someone else's lane means you should wait till the other lane becomes free. So in short, when you're doing a maneuver, like when you're turning right, turning left, or when you are making a U-turn or reversing, you must always give priority. Okay. So in this photo, as you can see, the car here on the left is wanting to turn to its left, which means that it will be performing a maneuver. Now, when this car is performing a maneuver, it must give priority. Yeah? Whenever you're performing a maneuver, you must give priority. So because this car is performing a maneuver, it must give priority to the traffic that is already on this lane. So You are allowed to continue riding. The car will wait. The car will wait for all the traffic which is on this lane first. Only when this lane becomes empty will the car turn left. So even even if you have to do that, if you have to turn left, right, you must pay attention and give priority to the traffic which is already using that lane. So general rules during maneuver: always give priority to the other road users, including pedestrians, because you are leaving your lane and using the other lane, so you must give priority. Use indicators while performing maneuvers. When you want to turn right, left, use indicators. Adapt your speed as needed. Okay. Now let's talk about the maneuver of turning right. So when you are turning right, what should you pay attention to? So switch on the right side, right direction indicator sufficiently ahead of time. Before turning, look into the mirrors and over your right shoulder. Ensure that there are no bicycles or pedestrians ready to cross the road. So it's very important. When turning right or left, follow the priority rules. So if you, for example, if you are turning right and there is already a bicycle lane that you have to cross, and if there is a bicycle riding on that lane, you must first give priority to the bicycle to pass, and only then you are allowed to turn right. Right? It's the rule of the maneuver that you give priority to the vehicle which is already running on the lane, because before using their lane. Also the same for the pedestrians. You must give priority to the pedestrians, cyclists, mopeds going straight ahead or crossing the road. So here's an example. In this photo, you can see that the blue car is trying to turn right, and there are pedestrians who are already using the elevated verge of the footpath, or even this is the road, so they are crossing the road. Now, if the car has to turn to its right, it must first wait because it is leaving its lane, entering the other lane, which is the footpath as well as the bicycle lane. So it must wait for the traffic on the new lane, and once the lane is free, only then it is allowed to turn right. So it must wait, give priority to the pedestrians, and then only it is allowed to turn right. So while turning right, stay as close as possible to the right edge of the road and keep your right as short as possible. So there is an exception. When you are following the road markings, you stay on the specific lane. For example, when you are turning right, there might be two lanes which are turning to the right, and you are on the right side lane or the left side lane. So, so just follow the road markings. In that case, you don't have to stay as right as possible to the road. So here's an illustration where the blue car is turning to its right. See how short it is keeping its turn. It's staying very close to the right edge of the road. It's taking a short right turn. That's how you take a right turn. It has to be as short as possible. Now the next maneuver, turning left. So while turning left, like while turning right, you use your right indicator. While turning left, you have to use your left indicator sufficiently ahead of time. Same thing about looking into the mirrors before overtaking. Make sure that there are no pedestrians or bicycles which are already crossing the road. While turning left, stay as left as possible without hindering others. It shouldn't be that you just move into the other's lane. No, stay on your lane, but as left as possible. So the left turn is always a wide turn, unlike the right turn, which is a short turn. So when you take a left turn, it has to be a big turn, and you exit on the rightmost lane on the new road, right? So here you are taking a left turn, and then you exit on the rightmost lane, right? This is especially important when here there is one lane and here there are two lanes. So for example, the car is turning to its left, it has to still come to the rightmost lane, even though there is another left lane which is allowed to go straight, but you must always come to the rightmost lane. There's an exception again. If there are road markings, you just follow the road markings and stay on the specific lane. Again, while turning left or right, you must follow the priority rules and always give priority to the traffic that is driving straight, or which is if the traffic is there on the new lane that you are entering. So here's an illustration to show how the red car is turning left, and the priority to show the priority, of course. So the red car wants to turn to its left, but because it is turning left, it must first see it is leaving its lane, entering the lane of the green car, right? So it must first give priority to the green car. The green car might want to go right, might want to go towards its right, or might want to go straight. It doesn't matter. The green car goes first, only then the red car can use the lane of the green car to go to change the road, right? So the red car waits, the green car goes first, and then the red car goes. So turning left, you must give priority to the traffic that is going straight or turning towards its right. So remember, while you are doing a maneuver, you are leaving your lane and entering others' area or lane, so you must give them priority. When turning left, give priority to the oncoming traffic, pedestrians, cyclists, mopeds, riders who are crossing the road, you will be landing on. So it will be the new road that you will be landing on. So as you can see here, the car is going straight, but let's say you want to turn left or right, but you can clearly see that the pedestrian light is also green on the right side as well as left side. So it doesn't matter if you want to turn right. First, make sure that if there are any pedestrians on crossing the road, they are allowed to cross the road first. Also, the same case on the left side, if there are pedestrians crossing the road, they are allowed to cross the road first. You are only then allowed to turn left or right. So turning left can be done in two ways. Okay, if there are two cars, let's say in the first case we saw that the red car wants to turn left, but the green car wanted to go straight. So obviously, the green car had priority. The green car and then the red car had to give priority to the green car, only then it was allowed to turn left. Now what if both the cars want to turn to their left? So the red car wants to turn to its left and the green car wants to turn to its left. How do we do this maneuver? There are two ways to do this. Turn without crossing. So as you can see in this example, the cars are turning without crossing each other. Remember crossing? The cars continue to drive straight, come from the opposite direction and continue to drive straight, right? So if the red car had continued to drive straight like this here, if the green car had continued to drive straight here, then that would have been considered as crossing. Now turn left without crossing. So there is no crossing here. So the red car comes till here, turns left. The green car comes till here, turns left. So they have not crossed each other. The other scenario is cross first and then turn left. So in this case, the car will first cross each other and then turn left. We will see that here in the next slide. So here we see two illustrations for the second scenario, which is cross first and then turn left. On the left there is a clear road marking indicating that you must let's go back to the first picture. So when do you turn without crossing? You turn without crossing only when there is a road marking that indicates that you must turn without crossing. So road markings indicate not to cross before turning left, right? So in this case, the road marking says that don't cross but turn left before crossing. So that's the scenario that you will follow, that turn without crossing if there is a road marking. Now, for the second scenario, we see that again, if there is a road marking indicating that you must first cross and then turn left, you follow that. In this case, the red car and the green car cross each other first and then they turn left. Or the other case can be if there is no road marking at all at a junction. As in this illustration, there is no road marking at all. Even in that case, by default, you must first cross and then turn left. You're not allowed to follow the first scenario where you turn without crossing, right? So this has to be first cross and then turn left. If the road marking says, do it. If the road marking doesn't say, even then do the same thing. But if the road marking says, like in the first case, do not cross but turn left, then you follow that. Now, another important thing about junctions are roundabouts. Roundabouts where multiple roads meet. So what is a roundabout? It is a place where the traffic comes together from different roads and moves in only one direction. On a roundabout, the traffic moves always in one direction. And in which direction? It moves in the anti-clockwise direction, which is opposite to the direction of the clock. The traffic on the roundabout always has priority. Very, very important. The traffic on the roundabout always has priority. So any vehicle which is trying to enter a roundabout must give priority to the traffic which is on the roundabout. So here's a photo showing an example of roundabout. You will usually find a board like this with showing the direction, showing the different roads. First is there is a circle which tells you that it's a roundabout. And then there are different roads, and then they would have put the road numbers. For example, this is an international E313 motorway road. This is a national road. And then there are other roads, right? So when you see a board like this, you should become aware that you will be reaching a roundabout further. So also pay attention to these arrows. These indicate the exits that you must take on the roundabout if you want to go into a particular direction. For example, you are driving on this road, and if you want to go to Antwerp, you have to take the second exit. This becomes the first exit, and this becomes the second exit. And if you want to go to N19, then you take the third exit. So arrows indicate the exits that you must take to go in a particular direction. So how do you identify a roundabout? There are two conditions that must be met for a roundabout. There must be a roundabout board like this. This is a roundabout traffic sign, and you can see that also in this photo here. It is placed on the roundabout. Remember, a round traffic sign can be placed where it is best visible. So this is an obligatory sign, a blue round board, and it can be placed on the left, it can be placed on the right, wherever it is best visible. So it is placed on the roundabout, and then there should be a give priority shark teeth or inverted triangle before entering the roundabout, which tells the traffic that you must give priority to the traffic that is already on the roundabout. So you are only allowed to enter the roundabout when the roundabout is free. So in this photo, the car on the left, which is already driving on the roundabout, has priority, and the two cars here on the right, which are trying to enter the roundabout, must first wait for the roundabout to become empty or free before entering the roundabout. How do you enter and exit a roundabout? When entering a roundabout, there is no need to switch on the direction indicator. It's obvious, everyone is going in the same direction. You don't have to switch on the indicator. However, it is mandatory to switch on the direction indicator when you are exiting a roundabout. This is to let the traffic know that you will take the first exit, you will take the second exit, or you will take the third exit, whatever. So it's important while you are exiting the roundabout to switch on the right indicator. So it's always the right indicator that you switch on when you exit the roundabout. So as you can see in this example, this gray car is exiting the roundabout, and clearly it has switched on its right indicator to inform the other road users that it is taking this particular exit. And this is the correct way of exiting a roundabout. Now, there can also be bicycle lanes at roundabouts. So these also have different scenarios, and you must pay attention to that. Bicycle lanes on the roundabout or at a roundabout can be part of the roundabout, or it can be outside roundabout. So both situations are possible. The bicycle lane can be part of the roundabout, or it can be outside the roundabout. When the bicycle lane is part of the roundabout, then just like any other traffic on the roundabout has priority, right? So if a bicycle lane is part of the roundabout, then the bicycles have riding on that bicycle lane have priority. So before entering the roundabout, you must give priority to the bicycles. So this photo shows an example where the bicycle lane is part of the roundabout. How do you know? Because you see a sharp teeth for you before the bicycle lane, which means that the bicycle lane is part of the roundabout. You must also give to the priority to the bicycles which are riding on that bicycle lane. The other situation is a bicycle lane which is not part of the roundabout. In this photo, you can see that there is a bicycle lane close to a roundabout, but it is really not part of the roundabout. So as you can see the board on the right where the bicycles are allowed to cross. But remember, this traffic sign lets you know that there is a bicycle crossing. However, the bicycles must give priority to the traffic on the road, right? So the bicycles will wait before the traffic here clears, and only when the lane is empty, they are allowed to cross over. So there is a shark teeth for the bicycles in this case, and they must give priority to the existing traffic on the lane. So this bicycle lane is not part of the roundabout, and that's why the bicycles don't have priority here. So we come to an end of this lesson. Let's quickly look at the traffic signs. So the blue board here, obligatory board, indicates a roundabout, and the arrows indicate the direction of the traffic. Remember, on a roundabout, the traffic is moving always in one direction in an anti-clockwise, which is indicated as in the arrows. The next board or the traffic sign is a warning sign, and it's also indicating that there is a crossroad ahead. So remember, when you see this board, it indicates that there is a crossroad ahead, and at a crossroad, the priority from right applies. So any vehicle coming from the right will get priority, and any vehicle coming from the left must give priority to the vehicle that is on the right. Now, the third traffic sign here is the warning sign. Sorry, it's the give priority sign. So it's also called as a shark teeth, which means that you must give priority to the traffic on the other road before entering that road. So the driver must give priority to all other drivers before entering the other road. The other two boards here, they are the traffic road signs indicating that there is a pedestrian crossing and there is a crossing for bicycles and mopeds on the road. Now let's look at some practice questions. So there is this junction and the traffic light is green. And the question is, you want to turn right here. What are your options? The first one says you have priority as there is green, so you may turn right. The B option is you may turn right, but first must pay attention to the crossing pedestrians and bicycles. And option C is you must first stop and give priority as there is a stop board. So option A is incorrect. Option B is correct. Why? Because we have seen in this lesson turning right, left is always a maneuver. So when you're doing a maneuver, you are leaving your lane and you are entering someone else's lane, and then you must watch out, give priority to the road users of that lane. So if there are people, if there are pedestrians crossing that lane, you must first give priority to them. Option C is also not correct. Remember, when there are traffic lights, the hierarchy of priority says that the traffic lights are above the traffic signs or traffic boards. So when there is a traffic light, you can ignore the traffic boards, right? So the question is, this white car here wants to turn to its left. Should it give priority to the black car coming from the other direction? Your options are yes, no. So we learned that the white car, we learned that any vehicle turning left, right must give priority, is doing a maneuver, and any vehicle turning left must give priority to the traffic coming from the opposite direction that is going straight or turning towards its right. So what is the answer here? Yes, the white car must give priority to the gray car or the black car, which is going straight. So that completes our lesson. Now let's do some practice questions on mainrebaways.eu website. So this is the website, very good website where you can practice a lot of questions. They have a big database of questions. So let's do some questions related to what we just studied. So the question is, mag die auto links van jou en rijstrook naar rechts opschuiven nadat hij die ingehaald heeft? So it says, yeah, not every question is related to what we just studied, but I will try to answer 50 questions here, and then some will be related, but the others will be related to other chapters, but it gives you a good picture of all the questions. So it says, is the car on the left allowed to make a maneuver and to come back to the right lane after it has done, it has overtaken? So the answer is no. Why? Because you see there is a orange line here, solid line, and when there is an orange solid line, you can ignore the white lines, broken lines. So if there was no orange solid line, it could have considered the broken white lines and could have come back to the right lane, but now it is not allowed. Remember, a solid line, remember it is always as a wall. Think of it as a wall. You're not allowed to cross that. So the question is, you must turn left here. How do you do? What is the right way to do it? The option A or option B? So the correct answer is option A, because there is a bus lane. You are not allowed to continue driving on the bus lane. The B option says that you can drive on the bus lane and then turn left. No, this is not allowed. So if you want to turn left, you just turn left here. You're not allowed to continue driving on the bus lane. So that's also the boards here, blue boards. If you pay close attention, they show that the middle lane is a reserved bus lane. So option answer is A. It says here, are you allowed from here to turn left? Are you allowed to turn left from this lane? The answer is no. If you want to turn left, you have to first select your lane, move to the left, and then only turn left. So when you're crossing, option A, when you're crossing here, option A is you are allowed to use the brown stroke. You're allowed to use the part of the road that is colored brown. And option B is you must use the part of the road that is colored brown. And option C is you must stop. So the thing is, this part of the road that is colored brown is called as the suggestion lane. The bicycles ride on this lane, but it's not reserved for bicycles. So you must always drive on this. Suggestion lane. And if there is a bicycle, then you just drive carefully. But you must drive on this suggestion lane. So the option is you must continue driving on this suggestion lane. So the next question is, are you allowed to overtake at a priority road where you see this traffic sign? So this traffic sign indicates that it's a priority road. Are you allowed to make an overtake? Option A is yes. Option B is yes, but not at cross points. Option C is no. So the answer is yes. When you are on a priority road, you're allowed to make an overtake. So all the other traffic will give priority to you. Are you allowed to overtake this car in front of you? The answer is yes, because there are broken white lines and there is no traffic sign prohibiting you from doing any overtake. And this is a sign which is on the left, so it doesn't apply to you. Always the signs that are on your right applies to you. On the left might be repeated, but unless there is a sign on your right, it doesn't apply to you. You want to overtake a bicycle outside built-up area. How much of lateral distance should you maintain? It's 1.5 meters outside built-up area. And within built-up area, it's 1 meter. So now it's outside, so it's 1.5 meters. The next question is, when you drive past these pedestrians outside built-up area, what should you do? Option A is you must keep at least 1 meter of lateral distance. You must drive at 30 kilometers per hour speed. The third option is 1.5 meters lateral distance. We have already seen this. So the question is, there is an obstacle on your lane. Who has priority? Option A is you have priority. Option B is the traffic from the opposite side. Obviously, the traffic from the opposite side, you must wait for the traffic from the opposite side because you will be leaving your lane and entering their lane. Then you must give priority to them. The question is, when you are leaving a roundabout, option A is you must use your right indicator. Option B is you are allowed to use your right side indicator. You must. It's a mandatory thing when you are leaving a roundabout. So it says, what is the correct position if you want to turn left? So A is this car is on the lane, same lane, but towards the extreme left, which is the most correct position. The B is in the center and the C is on the right, but the correct answer should be, if you want to turn left, you have to keep your car as left as possible on your lane. So the question here is, when you are overtaking from left, when should you switch off your left indicator? Option A is you switch off your indicator when you have moved completely to the left, which is the right answer. The other options are you switch off your indicator when you are next to the vehicle that you are overtaking. No, you switch off you have option C is you have completely overtaken the vehicle. No, even this is not okay because you then have to switch on your right indicator and then come back to your right lane. Only then you have completed the overtaking. Option C is you come back to the right of the lane and then switch off your left indicator. No. So when you have moved to the left completely, then you switch off your left indicator. You're not moving any left further. So the car wants to overtake this bicycle. How much of lateral distance must it leave? Within a built-up area, it's 1 meter. So the question is, you want to overtake this vehicle, this truck, but you see in your left mirror that someone is approaching you. What will you do? Option A. Option A is you must let the car approaching you to pass first. Option B is you must put on your indicator and move to the left lane. Option C is you must put on your left indicator and then you have priority. No, option A is you must let the car pass first. On the next roundabout, you want to turn right. So what are your options? You sort yourself on the reserved bus lane. Option B is you sort or you select the lane of the special reserved bus lane. Option C is you continue driving on this lane. So as you can see the traffic sign here, on the right is the reserved special bus lane. You don't sort on that lane, so you continue driving on that lane, this lane, and only at the junction you turn right. So within a built-up area, what's the lateral distance you give for when you are overtaking a bicycle? It's 1 meter. This truck in front of you is an obstacle for you. What will you do? Option A is you have priority, you can continue driving. Option B is the opposite car coming from the opposite has priority. So the correct answer is the car coming from the left has priority. So here the question is, you want to turn left, and you can also see there are cars here standing, waiting, and they want to turn towards their left. So how do you turn left? Option A is 4L car before each other, which is left cross, and after each other, which is right cross. So let me explain you this. Before each other is, before you just turn left. You don't cross and you turn left. That is before each other. After behind each other is you first cross each other and then turn left. So because there are no traffic signs on the road, if there are no traffic signs, you must always do first cross and then turn left. It is also called as right crossing, and the other one is called left crossing. So if you can really pay a little attention, you will know that when you're doing a crossing, this will be the vehicles are on the right side of each other, while in this case the crossing vehicles will be on the left side of each other. So the question is, are you allowed to make an overtake here? The answer is no, because there is a solid orange line, and remember, it's a wall. You are not allowed to cross. Okay, so that completes our lesson today on crossing and maneuvers. Practice on this website that I just showed you, and we will see each other again in the next lesson. Thank you.